have a motion to reconvene the Commissioners Court meeting?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. So we're down to the approval of the consent agenda.
No concerns.
No concerns, no conflicts or anything?
Second.
Right. We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item 5A.
Constable procedures. Did you want to do that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, for Constable Precinct 1, Constable couldn't make it this morning. So he's requesting consideration of the court and approval of the acceptance of one K-9 for the Hidalgo County Constable Precinct 1 office, donated by K-9s for Cops as a replacement for their current K-9.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Our item on the agenda this week is requesting acceptance and approval of the City of Donna to be included in the Hidalgo County Urban County Program Consortium for federal fiscal years 2019 and 2020, and the approval of the cooperation agreement. As a bit of background, the City of Donna in 2017 chose not to participate in the 3-year participation process of the development of the Urban County Program. So they were excluded from 2018, 19, and 20. We received guidance from HUD recently through a CPD notice that advises that we could request and allow cities to want to join back into the Urban County Program. So that's the process we're following now. So that's the item we have before you.
The city contacted me yesterday. Obviously, I think they took action during a meeting yesterday
Yes, sir,
to
12th.
approve coming back into the Urban County
Yes.
Program. This obviously assists them with infrastructure and parks and things like that. They've requested that we support it, and I make a motion to approve.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 7A.
Judge, it's for budget. I see that Sergio stepped out. It's approval of salary schedule changes as per Exhibit A in accordance with the Hidalgo County Classification and Compensation Plan.
So moved. Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And item B would be under Fund 1100 Health Clinics, 1293 PHHS, and 1293 Prenatal Maternity, as well as 1293 Medicaid Administration. It's approval of the following change in funding sources listed on Exhibit A and the approval of interdepartmental transfer.
Move for approval.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8A, this is a discussion item only. I have placed some packets on the desk to give you some information on aggregation pools. Judge called a meeting, and three of the aggregation pools participated, one by phone, 2 of them in person. I think it behooves the court to attempt to look at this as an additional resource in securing our electric energy provider, as opposed to, we have released, though, the consultant RFP that are due to be picked up tomorrow by prospective participants, as opposed to how we have been doing it, which is through a consultant writing the RFP for us, putting it out, and then recommending. So there is some information there. We did have, I think, we had Precinct 4 present, and at least two other precincts came in and joined us. So I believe it's something worth reviewing and possibly deciding on whether you wish to go this route. I think we heard from one of the biggest aggregation pools that is very specialized in counties, and it has the biggest counties and users in the state. So I think it would be, and plus the fees would be much less than whatever we negotiate with a consultant, at least for now, if you compare it to what we were paying. So I leave you to.
So we're gonna go out for bids, and we're gonna have this option, or how does it work?
No, if you went this way, you would not put out a bid. You wouldn't put it in RFP. You wouldn't need a consultant. That's embedded in your participation. And they do a lot of aggregation for counties.
The best way that I can explain it, because we all have to do a lot of learning. The process, there's a generator of electricity, then there's someone that distributes that electricity, there's a retailer that buys that electricity, transmits it or delivers it through that process to an end user.
Correct.
What we have done as a county in the past is we retain a consultant to go out to the market and buy energy for us.
Correct.
Okay? And if we continue that process, then he is negotiating only for us to those retailers that provide electricity. The difference in adding an aggregator is that we pool ourselves, let's say with the state of Texas or county of
Harris
County, Bexar County,
Tarrant.
and we all go negotiate a contract together, okay? So it's kind of like Walmart. When Walmart, the reason Walmart sells you cheaper groceries is they have buying power. So an aggregation gives you buying power. So in the process of learning all that, we also found out that the bill basically has three components.
Correct.
The cost of the commodity, plus all the ancillary expenses,
The pass-through.
the cost for the distribution, and taxes. So in discussing with people, I said, well, can a consultant help us to reduce taxes? He said, no, that's a statutory amount. Okay?
Correct.
So there's no benefit from having a consultant because taxes are statutory. Is there any way a consultant can help us in reducing the cost of distribution? The answer was no, because that's also regulatory. They own the stuff, and the state of Texas says you can only charge that. And that is about a 45 to 50% total. The total price of electricity is about half of that is distribution. So the only thing a consultant can help us with is the cost of the commodity. Well, the cost of the commodity has other costs associated with it. If we go by ourselves, there's what's called a nodal charge. A nodal charge is we think we're going to buy so much electricity from you, okay, that's a contract, but we're buying insurance to say that we may be able to ask you for more or for less. So we're buying insurance that electricity will be available. That is if we go by ourselves. If we aggregate ourselves with the rest of it, then we don't have to pay that fee. Okay? And
It's
that
embedded.
Fee, that fee right now is about $68,000 that we're paying today because we're by ourselves. So if you add the $40,000 for the consultant, the $68,000 for the nodal fee, I think it's pretty easy decision that we aggregate this thing.
I think one of the examples we had was South Texas Zone. One of the aggregations told us this, have two counties, which is Nueces and San Patricio. They're considered small. So right now the basis for let's say Harris County in this aggregation pool is about 3.25. We're at 3.78, okay, on the energy. Because they are smaller, then they come in about 3.4. The South Texas Zone, we would be the largest. So now we would get what they call a bridging contract because that has already been aggregated. And they go out again maybe 2022 is what I recall, or 21.
One of them has a 37-month still contract. So if we were to join, we would go into that contract.
We'd enjoy what they have now.
Others have shorter contracts, so we would have to go and have a bridge contract.
It's the bridges. But I believe that would be a great opportunity for the county to join some enormous buying
And the law says that if we enter an aggregation pool, we don't have to go for an RFP.
No, we've met our bidding requirements.
Right. We simply say we're gonna resolve to join them, and then that's
There's
it.
some things the court would have to take,
What if the price of oil goes up or the price of natural gas?
You're already in, dude.
We're in.
Yes, just like you would the one we had right now.
Yes, so you never know. A work might break out or whatever. And
That's the most important decision right there. That's the one that's the most important decision is how long of a term do you want to go into?
Correct.
Right now you have two types of generation for electricity, fossil fuel which is gas and
And
coal, and renewable,
and
which
the
is
renewable.
wind and sun. But right now, we have very high inventories of gas, so coal is falling because it can't compete with gas. So we think we're gonna be pretty stable in prices for
Right.
a good
They,
while.
they did present that. It was some very good information. I would really urge you to consider it, and you would have the component of going out on the RFP with a consultant. We would have much more of a billions of mega kilowatts to join in with.
Well, everything I've heard, it makes sense for us to pursue this option. So whatever you need to do, Judge, to give us the option.
My recommendation is that.
Anything that can save us money.
Right. So I know this is just discussion, but I would say that, bring next Tuesday.
I'll bring something, I'll have to get with legal because there are steps that have to be taken in order to join.
It seems like we would need some
Resolutions.
presentation from the different companies that offer these aggregation pools, and then decide which
could
one would
invite-
fit best.
Yes, certainly. We could invite the two that did make presentations. Now, one chose to do it by phone. I don't know if they would choose to come in to make a live presentation. But I will certainly send out the invite.
They're both very good. There was only one that when you have there's a word for it, I can't remember, but you give an anticipated amount of money that you think that's going to use, okay? And
Oh,
one
on the
one
nodal.
company said, well, if it's less, you won't get it back, okay?
And another one
The other
said,
company said, well, if it's less, you'll get it back.
that was kind of like on the nodal
Yeah.
fee. If it didn't reach the cap, then anything below, we would get a
And the only
refund.
difference between the two is one, P3 representing counties and TCAP representing cities.
Cities, and they want to break in a county. On the other hand, which is the CUC, the Conference of Urban Counties, which you were talking about, the P3, they have all counties and started to incorporate cities.
Well-
But the counties are big players.
Yeah, but they might be big players, but I would think that school districts have more facilities and have more usage. They typically have more employees, they have more campuses, they have administration, they have operations. I
Right.
think the buying power may be bigger with schools.
Yes.
So yeah, I would say explore both options, because if they're looking to get counties into their program and we can be the flagship for that and have the purchasing power of a school district
Yeah, but we were-
behind us.
The one that wanted a county in was just cities. They just had cities.
Gotcha.
If that's correct, if I remember
I
correctly,
remember
Judge.
seeing one that had schools as well.
I know Region 1 is putting out an aggregation bid, right, RFP out. But I'll make a general invite to those that would give us a presentation of somebody who services school districts, one that does counties, one that does cities.
So Judge, are you thinking a workshop setting, or are you
I-
thinking about
I think a workshop would
committee?
be,
To me, the more you know about the thing, the better decision we're gonna make. So I think, yes. I've had the benefit already of doing that, but I think you
So a
will
workshop
benefit
so
from
that
it.
we
Yeah.
participate?
Yeah, you will benefit from it.
should we go ahead and include it in next week's workshop? I think the sooner the better,
Yeah.
because it is a very important issue. So I'll set that up. Okay. That was, and now B, Precinct 1, acceptance and approval to execute the final AIA document A-133-2009, 2009, guaranteed maximum price amendment number 1 between Hidalgo County and contractor Erickson Construction LLC for the construction of the tax office substation in Precinct 1, in the Precinct 1 area for the amount of $1,199,600, including the authority to issue the notice to proceed, and that is contingent, and we have information that the bonds will be received today.
So that's not just the tax office, that's the planning office, and it's also the Health and Human Services substation.
Correct.
So it's multiple county
It started off with,
departments.
yes.
Yes. Move for approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Judge, Commissioners, just a note, that is subject to receiving the bonds.
Yes, that's why I announced it. We have, that is subject to receiving the bond.
Yes, that's
which we have word this morning that they should be in today.
Yes, okay.
We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
C1 is for the Sheriff's Office acceptance and approval of the First Amendment to the Interlocal Cooperation Agreement, Housing of Inmates between Hidalgo County and Starr County to reflect the increase on the daily prisoner housing fee to $60 per inmate per day. And that will be effective today,
And what was the rate before?
45, I believe.
It used to be 40 at the beginning, and then.
And then
it went up to
45, I believe it's 45.
So the reason for the question is, I mean, we just got a budget presentation where we had a shortfall in sheriff department, and now we're increasing the rate. What does that impact you, Sergio?
I believe the number that's housed at the Starr County facility is lower. I believe the ones for the major one is the $54 for the GLO, or which one is the one that we
No,
have in
no.
Brooks and?
Well, Brooks, those are full, they don't take,
Yes.
that's why we're having.
But it's a
those
different,
that-
that's
They're
a
much
different
higher,
rate.
they're at 70-something with the feds, ours are at 60.
I'm asking, what's the impact gonna be to the budget that
Oh,
you just
sorry.
presented that was already short?
On that one, we would need to calculate that in here. Because I believe, I'm not sure it was 45 previously, I thought it was 54.
It may have been 54, there had been gradual
Increases.
changes.
Do-
What triggered it was that
About
Cameron
$6.
County moved it up to
Changed.
60.
So
What,
basically all,
the advantage to this one is
Local.
that transportation is included.
Yeah.
Cameron's is not.
I got you.
so there's that.
We don't have a choice really,
We
right?
really do not, and we're really competing, that's why they've gone up also against the feds who are paying up to $75 a day,
Move for approval.
and they transport.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, thank you.
Do we have anybody sign up for open forum?
Yes, sir, we do. We have 2 participants. I will remind the audience to please respect the speaker's time at the podium. There is a 3-minute time limit, and I will advise when there is 1 minute left. Our first speaker is Ms. Fern McClarity.
Yes, we're sitting here, especially in the workshop, and talking about how much money we don't have, how much you're not there, and all the bills and things. And just now with doing 8B1 for Precinct 1, $1,199,600 for a tax office. You did say now that there's 2 or 3 other offices there, but I'm still asking you, here you are going to build a new building for an existing or wherever these are, because you're bound to have a building that they're in now. What about the elections office? I did not hear one word in the budget about the elections. I challenge each one of you to go over there and sit at the elections office over there across from the courthouse. Sit there for a day, for a few hours, as anyone else has to. The rats are still there. It's dirty, it stinks, and people got colds. I was there just for a few days, just a few hours, and already I told y'all before, such a headache. But y'all don't seem to care about the elections office. Each one of you has to use that office to hold the position you're sitting in. Every department, I know this is in Precinct 4, but each one of you, every one, 3, 2, 1, 4, all use this election office. So y'all should all be concerned about fixing this. I assure you, if each one of your precinct office was in bad shape as the elections, you'd be sitting up there, you'd be standing saying we're going to do something. So I'm challenging y'all to do something about this building. I don't understand. You find offices for courts. You're talking about here we're going to get 2 new ones and it's going to cost us. How about the existing office that sits over there that are sick? And believe me, no one from over there has asked me to talk about this. This is from a person that is in the public, a taxpayer. I don't like spending money, but this is your job, each one of you, to fix that building or find some place to put them now. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And our next presenter
Hey,
is...
Valdez, so there is a plan for the elections office. And
Yes, sir.
I'm sure that you've told her that, but she just
No,
she's
And
bringing it up.
And
it's okay. Let's go on to the next one.
our next presenter is Ms. Jerusalem Flores. Mr. Flores.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Yes, thank you for your hard work here. But yeah, I'm here once again appealing for property tax relief. Recently, the Texas Senate passed a bill that's intended to offer homeowners protection against rising property taxes. Now, somebody commented on that bill and said that it was rather weak, but in the right direction. But the sentiment around Texas is, people want tax relief, property tax relief. That's the sentiment. I mean, that bill was recently passed by the Texas Senate. So I encourage you to offer some kind of property tax relief as well. Okay. Let's see. Also, according to many economists like David Stockman, former budget director for President Reagan, home ownership is at an all-time low. Renting is at an all-time high. People on food stamps is at an all-time high. People on disabilities, all-time high. Young adults living with parents, also all-time high. Homelessness, all-time high. Household debt, credit cards, all-time high. Government debt, all-time high. Now, does that sound like an economy prime for taxing? I mean, does that sound like a place that should be taxed more? No. Manufacturing has moved to China. You know that. The boomers are retiring. Once again, does that sound like an economy that can take a lot of taxation? I don't think so. Now, also about the federal. Well, let me just continue here. If the economy was strong, why is the Federal Reserve holding the interest rates, at 1 or 2 or 3%? Well, they hold the rates down because it's weak, and they've held them down for 10 years now, ever since the Great Recession of 2008. They've held the rates down, trying to stimulate the economy. So basically, the economy is weak, and you're taxing a weak economy. Taxes are rising, and it's really hurting us, the homeowners. Okay. In my opinion, at a certain point, homeowners should be exempt from property tax to the extent they will never be concerned about tax foreclosure and eviction. I remember back in 2008, there was a lot of homes with foreclosure signs in front of them. I hope that doesn't happen again, because then that's just going to hurt your tax base. The property owners, the homeowners, we're the tax base. We're the lifeline of this county. If we're hurt, then you're going to be hurting.
Mr. Flores.
Oh, yes, sir. Is that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Judge, Commissioners, that's it for today, and we do have Commissioners Court next week, Tuesday, 9:30 and 10.
Okay, I believe that concludes our agenda item. I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Yeah.
All those in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
What time